Hello, everyone. Ben Briggs here for PPC Better, your Nashville-based digital marketing and AI sales agency. And today we're going to talk about server-side tracking. So, server-side tracking is a more advanced version of Google Analytics, Metapixel. It's a way to transmit that data in a different way than what you're probably used to, unless you have already spent some time learning about server-side tracking. So let's talk about server-side tracking and the top 3 reasons why you should upgrade to server-side tracking in 2026. So reason number one is data degradation. So your data is degrading. Your data is getting worse. You're getting less data. You're getting less accurate data in 2024, 2025 than you were previously in years previously from tools like Google Analytics, from your Metapixel, the data that you're passing, your Google tag, whatever kind of tag it is. Maybe you're using Triple Whale or Microsoft Clarity. These are all pixel dependent in the first instance, in uh, the normal implementation of them, and they're all going to be degraded by Apple ITP, intelligent tracking prevention. Basically, what it does is it blocks various elements of the Google Analytics pixel, the Meta pixel, other conversion tracking tools. It either prevents them from sending data, or prevents the cookie from setting properly, or stops certain ad identifiers from getting passed. Um, but Apple ITP, and then also any ad blocker, any kind of the third party ad blockers are going to be using similar methods to Apple ITP. There's a ton of different ways that ad blockers and tracking protection is mechanically done, but for the most part, they are heavily impacting you if you're relying on pixel-based tracking. So that's why you need server-side tracking. Basically, what you're doing is, instead of with pixel tracking, you're kind of asking the user's device to send the data about it and about the visit that it's doing to your website right now. You're asking that phone to send the data to Google Analytics for you. What you're doing with server-side tracking is you're saying, no, this is all coming from the same website. This is data from mysite.com, and you're only sending data to mysite.com, so it's much safer. So that's basically what server-side tracking is doing, and it was also built in a way to with the expectation of being compliant with a lot of the regulations that we're seeing coming out right now, like the European GDPR. So if you're a larger business and you do business in Europe, that might be relevant, and then also the California laws. But the big thing that happens as far as your data degradation is that's over. Instead of having maybe half the data, which, if you're making decisions based on maybe half your data, you could be making some really bad decisions. It can improve that to 99% accuracy. I mean, you're getting all your data back. So server-side tracking takes you back to, well, even better, really, than Google Analytics ever was. And if you're old school like me, then you've been using Google Analytics for a long time. And over the last couple of years, your data really has been degrading. So that is what you're going to see. Is you're going to see pristine, crisp, clear data once you have your very complicated server-side tracking set up. The reason number two why you might want to invest the time and effort into upgrading to server-side tracking in 2026 would be if you're exposed to liability, if you're doing business in California or the EU, or even if you're not, kind of in some weird ways, you might be exposed to liability under the GDPR, even if you don't do business, if you don't actually ship any products, you don't have any customers in the EU. Just because your website's accessible from the EU, you might be exposed to risk or liability. Not financial advice, not legal advice. Seek your own financial and legal advice, please. I highly recommend that you do that on your own and do not just take advice of some random guy on YouTube. But regardless, if you are exposed to California or EU liability or other state laws, then upgrading to server-side tracking has the benefit that it was kind of built with those things in mind, like we talked about. So it's it's set up to be able to transmit the data securely using the HTTPS, the encryption. It's set up to be able to anonymize things like email address and phone number that would potentially be personally identifiable information that could get kind of swept up by bad actors who put themselves in the middle of your website data, and it's with the third-party cookies as well. So when you set up server-side tracking, like I said, you're making it first-party data. You're keeping it all on the same website, whereas a red flag that privacy tools might look for is sending data to a third-party website. Now, that's innocent for a lot of people that are advertising. They're sending the data to Google, or they're sending the data to Meta, but it could also be a way that hackers could try to spoof Google and then send the data. So all of those things, keeping all of those things in mind, server-side tracking had all those things in mind and built to try to mitigate some of those potential issues, whereas your old pixel tracking didn't have a lot of that technology baked in. According to a study, and I linked it here, the sciencedirect.com. So here is the study from the Journal of Network and Computer Applications. Basically, a bunch of researchers got together and did a bunch of web crawling, and they tried to figure out how many websites are breaking GDPR rules in the EU and in the US. And they found that about half of them were in some way breaking the rules. So there's some different ways that you can mitigate that, but server-side tracking can be a big piece of the puzzle because it stops you from kind of doing insecure transmission of things like customer email addresses and things like that. Enforcement has not been widespread. You shouldn't expect the feds to beat down your door, or you shouldn't expect to get a giant lawsuit necessarily tomorrow just because you're using Google Analytics or because you're using Metapixel. But it is good to kind of understand what the regulations are and do what you can to mitigate your risk, and server-side tracking can definitely be a big piece of that puzzle. Reason number 3 why you want to upgrade, and this might be reason number 1. This was my reason number 1, because I wanted my clients' campaigns to be able to perform better when we were buying Google ads and Meta ads. I was seeing this data degrading. I was seeing the conversion counts were getting less and less accurate, and understanding that the pixels were being blocked by ITP and ad blockers. And once we started migrating clients over to server-side tracking, we did see a big improvement. And this is really the pre-2020 tactics that don't work anymore. The way that we were doing conversion tracking back in the day just isn't good enough because the pixel tracking is inaccurate. And this really can be the biggest edge that you can get when you're feeding the Google AI real customer data, real customer conversions, information and data points about who are the types of people that are buying your product. When you're using server-side tracking, you're getting basically all of the signal, whereas with pixel-based tracking, you're getting maybe half of it, maybe less, maybe a little more, maybe 80%, but it's not all of it, and all of it is a lot better. So when we train the Google and the Meta bidding AI with the real first-party data, with accurate data, with the full data set, we're getting much, much better ROI, much better in performance in terms of lower cost per lead or higher cost conversion value over cost, things like that. So those are the top 3 reasons why you should upgrade your cookies and conversion tracking ASAP. You're going to get 99% accurate data. You'll be able to comply with the regulations much easier. You may also want a cookie management platform, but again, seek your own legal advice. And you can definitely improve your paid traffic performance. Every single time that we've implemented server-side tracking, we've seen big increases in paid traffic performance. So the traffic that you're buying from Google and Meta. And that's it. Thanks for taking a minute to take a look at this video. When you're ready to upgrade to server-side tracking, the easiest way to do that is to contact PPC Better. Just go to our website, ppcbetter.com, click on the contact page, and then hit the strategy session. You can pick a time to meet one-on-one with me and talk about what the best path for you might be as far as implementing server-side tracking. So thanks again for watching this video, and hope you have a great rest of your day.